Hi, welcome to Off Script. I'm Zach Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Draper.
Today on the show, it's our 300th episode. Woo! Big blowout for the show, but if you're just here for the first time, don't worry, you're not missing anything. We have 3 exciting reviews today. Wall-to-wall episode for Big 300, all right? First off, we're kicking it off with Superman. It's in theaters. We've seen it. People have been excited to hear what we have to say about it. Stick around for the review. We're going to take a look at Jurassic World Rebirth. Very excited to talk about Jurassic World since we were at a little hiatus last week. We caught this one when it came out. Excited to tell you what we think. Let's go take one look at Sorcerer. This is our little odd movie for the episode, all right? 1977's William Friedkin film, a director of French Connection and The Exorcist. This movie came out opposite Star Wars, got tanked at the box office for a number of reasons. Now it's in the Criterion Collection, picked up on sale. We got together, watched it. It's a real good time. Stick around for the review. All right, weird cinema coming up at the end with Sorcerer here. Before we get to all of it, we need to talk about the news. Our first story this week, the Odyssey tickets are going on sale a year before Christopher Nolan's movie opens in theaters. Andy, this is insane. Unhinged marketing from Universal. What do you know about this?
Well, if there's one thing I love with the movies, and that's a hype train. My hype train for Superman started in December, if not before that, and that's what this is. It's basically a PR stunt to get people excited about the Odyssey and get people to write about it, which they're doing. So AMC is going to be listing I think the IMAX showings. You can buy tickets starting on Thursday, a full year in advance. And like I said, it's a PR stunt. It's a smart thing. And if I can get those tickets to the Cinemark near us, I'll definitely pick those up. But it's funny. It's a little tongue in cheek, but I'm here for a good hype train.
It's so funny because people who are outside of like film Twitter and like movie sphere think that like A, won't even hear about this, and B, will think it's absolutely insane, and it is. But it's very specific, all right? This is not every IMAX theater selling tickets a year in advance. There's only like 10 or 15 or however many of these 70 millimeter IMAX film theaters there are in the world, all right? I think I want to say there's something like 15, maybe 17. Last number I heard was something like 10. There's not many, all right? They're all over the country. Some of them are outside the U.S. We happen to live very close to one. For Andy, it is his primary theater that he goes to. They have this screen. This is where we saw Dune. This is where we saw Oppenheimer. This is where Interstellar did their 10th anniversary screening. This is a big deal for the format. This is the way Christopher Nolan intends for you to see it. Those are the only theaters selling a year in advance, all right? Those like 10 specific screens, and it's not even every show. It's only certain ones, probably early ones. Twitter started to hear about this yesterday. Andy sent me a DM about it. I thought it was bogus. Today it's officially rolled out. Variety has an article. They are selling these things this far in advance. What is this, Andy? Is it hype train or hucksterism? Like, what are we looking at here? Because I fall in the line of hucksterism, but also I'm absolutely going to buy these tickets if I can get them because I want to see them in that theater. That's where I'd like to see the Odyssey.
I mean, it's a very smart PR stunt. Like I said, the trades are writing about it. Everyone on Twitter is talking about it. The haters are saying it's ridiculous. But I mean, if it's available, I will buy them. I know exactly what seats I'm going to buy. Row E, where that has a little bit of extra leg room at our IMAX. So it is a little ridiculous, but I mean, I would definitely buy those tickets and get them. I don't even know what I'm going to be doing a year from now, but I will be in that seat come July 2026.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I don't know where exactly I'm going to be, but I know I want to see the Odyssey. I know Nolan doesn't miss, and I know for a little perspective on these specific theaters, our one theater here in Dallas that has this IMAX 70 millimeter capability, they had sold out shows for Oppenheimer months in advance. Sold out. Every seat, even the front row corners, all right? They added shows round the clock for Oppenheimer. They were running 24-hour cycles. You get tickets to go see Oppenheimer at 3 in the morning. You can actually do the same for Superman right now at this specific theater because the demand is so high for tickets. And they still sold out. They did the same thing with the Interstellar 10th anniversary screening. And that was the 10th anniversary of Interstellar. Like, people who want to see this movie in this specific format will go to great lengths. And when you find out that you can get the tickets, whenever you get them, you jump on it. And I think it's bogus. It's like some concert venue, like movie ticket master behavior. But like, I'm also going to buy them. So I don't like it. I don't like it. Nobody should do this. Also, I'm going to support it with my money. So that's where I'm at. Yeah, I don't feel good about it, but I'm going to play because I want to see the tickets there. Yeah, I want to see the movie there.
Yeah, it's a smart bit of marketing and, like I said, creating hype for the movie, along with they're rumored to drop the teaser that played in front of Jurassic Park, and also Superman is probably going to drop online so more people can see it as well. It actually doesn't reveal much. Chris Nolan has done much better teasers in the past, but it's fine. But it's going to be the big movie of next summer, and they're starting that hype train today.
Yeah, it's an underbaked teaser for sure, and haters will see it and say that's nothing. Oh my God, who cares about this? Whatever, dog. If it's not for you, like, you don't gotta tell the rest of us about it. Keep your bad opinions to yourself. All right. The rest of us are going to be in Odyssey in July next year when we get our tickets on Thursday. We got to talk about the Hot Wheels movie. This is a headline right out of Apple TV's The Studio. John M. Chu is going to be directing the Hot Wheels movie for Warner Brothers and Mattel. That's right. Crazy Rich Asians and Wicked director John M. Chu is going to be doing a Hot Wheels franchise film for Mattel, the toy brand, right? Very exciting, I think, if you're a car toy head. What do you know about this, Andy?
Well, back in 2019 is when Warner Brothers acquired the Mattel brand, or when they made a deal to kind of collaborate on films and TV and utilize the property. And so after the huge success of Barbie with Greta Gerwig, now they're looking to the Hot Wheels brand to be the next big thing that Mattel does, with John M. Chu, who of course did Wicked and In the Heights. We don't know anything about plot or story. That it's a real vague thing where, like, it's more than just about speed. It's about playing with toy. I don't know. I have no idea what angle they're going to take on this movie. Could be brilliant, could be a flop. It's really kind of hard to tell. They'll probably get somewhere in the middle. It probably won't be Barbie, but it probably won't flop either.
Yeah, I'm imagining something like between Transformers and Fast and the Furious, right? Which, by the way, if you're casting this movie, you would do well to get Vin Diesel in there somewhere for a good laugh. Like, even just some goofy side role talking about family or something before his little toy car gets run over. Yeah, I don't know if live action, don't know if it's all animated, no idea. But John M. Chu's got, big vision. Obviously, Wicked's had a lot of success. Wicked Part 2 is coming out soon. He had a lot of success with Crazy Rich Asians. In the Heights didn't do quite as good, but it was still a big Broadway adaptation. Like, I think he can do it. If anything, I'm a little bummed he's stuck on a Hot Wheels movie. I would guess that this is like a one for you, one for them kind of situation, right? That it's so old in Hollywood studios that John M. Chu makes whatever Warner Brothers wants, and then they will give him a blank check to make whatever he wants. But at the same time, he just made 2 Wicked movies for Warner Brothers, so I don't know. Like, I don't know why he owes them like another good one before they finally give him the dream project he's looking for. But it just does. It feels a little rote. Feels a little bit like director who's got some talent is landing in IP jail and has to do a movie for Mattel.
Yeah, it's you want to see better from directors, especially, I mean, Wicked was a huge hit. He's got this Wicked Part 2 coming out this year as well. Yeah, you would just wish he was attached to a better movie. Like, it feels like a downgrade after Wicked.
It does a little bit. Maybe it'll be like Barbie, right? Maybe they'll have some slick script from Noah Baumbach and it'll work and people will go for it. I don't know. Maybe it'll be paired with a movie like Oppenheimer and we'll be watching Hot Wheels Oppenheimer summer, like Barbie had. Like, who knows? Like, anything could happen. Kids will probably turn out for it, but yeah, keep an eye on this space for more John M. Chu Hot Wheels news. Naja 2 is finally coming out in the U.S. in English. We already covered this movie when it came here in its original Chinese language, but it's not coming from who you'd expect, and we definitely don't know who to expect for the cast. What do you know about this?
So back in February, Naja 2 came out, which was the sequel of a big animated mythical film in China. It went on to gross $2.2 billion. That's billion with a B. Highest grossing movie of the year that everyone refuses to talk about, like it's not the biggest thing. Like Avatar 3 is going to have a challenge to unseat this thing, and it may not. So biggest film of the year so far. We said back then in our review that they would benefit from an English dubbing, and so that's finally happening, and it's going to be coming out next month, August 22nd. Michelle Yeoh is starring in a lead role that we don't know which one. It's not going to be Naja because that's kind of a child role, and you need someone who does that kind of child voice acting. Also, a lot of the other roles are actually male roles, so I don't know. She might be doing the mother, something like that. We're not real sure, but I'm excited that this is going to get an English release, and I'd be interested to see what kind of interest there is for it. It was huge internationally, obviously really big in China. Will it be big in the States as well, or will it just kind of be overlooked?
Yeah, I think the most interesting thing for this to me is who's distributing it. It's coming from A24, which is weird because A24 does not typically get to be a part of multi-billion-dollar franchise releases. Like, that's a real big fish for them. Don't know how they landed it. Don't know who they've got that was shaking hands and making it happen over in China to get the distribution rights to this, but they should clean up pretty good. I mean, maybe the big studios just didn't want to be attached. Maybe there was some big asking price. Like, I don't know, but whatever it is, like A24 is got a tiger by the tail, hopefully, if it does well here in the US. Like Andy said, we don't know a lot about our voice cast, but we went and saw it. It's a real good time. Big visuals. I'm seeing the way something like K-pop Demon Hunters is popping after we covered it a couple weeks ago. There's a good chance that with the right trailer and the right marketing, like this could come out and make big money here. It certainly already did in China. So yeah, I don't remember what episode we covered it on, but you can hit the YouTube channel for our review. It's floating out there, and we will probably recover it here as well because even our review did pretty good. Like, this movie was so popular that even us posting it did well, so I'm very interested to see how it performs again.
I think what I'm looking forward to is the fact that it looks like a family-friendly Pixar movie, and while it is kind of for all ages, it's definitely got more action and more violence than the normal Pixar or Illumination or DreamWorks animation thing would have. And parts of it are kind of scary, and just audiences are different over there. They apparently tolerate a little bit more childish violence, but there's going to be people who take kids that are too young, and they're going to have nightmares from, like, the Dragon Lords are really scary, and it's really violent. It's not gory. There's not like blood and guts, but it is more action than you might expect from an animated film. I can't wait for people to take their kids that are too young to it.
Yeah, absolutely. We got cooked in the comments in our review for saying it was a kids movie. A bunch of people were like, "This is not a children's film." It's like, well, in the United States, it is, dog. Like, I get maybe where it came from, that it appeals to broader audiences, but like, it absolutely slides into the DreamWorks Pixar category here. Even if it's tackling bigger themes, even if it's got a little bit more action on screen, and it's a good time. Like, I think a lot of kids would enjoy watching Naja too. So yeah, go check out our review on the channel if you want to find out more about it. We will keep up with it as we find out more before it comes here in August. One more story before we get to Superman. We're going to talk about the box office. Superman did pretty good here in the United States. Pretty good, but maybe not so good overseas. What do the numbers look like?
Superman's a hit, at least domestically. Came in with 125 million domestic open, 220 globally. I was hearing everything from 100 billion to 150 million dollar expectations, which is way too wide. Warner Brothers was on the more conservative, and 125 is a great start. Superman doesn't really do well overseas because it's seen as very much an American thing. It's very patriotic things, which just doesn't translate the way a lot of other superhero stuff like Batman or the Avengers or other things. So doing really well in the States, not doing quite as well as other movies of the same caliber would do, but it's still off to a pretty strong start.
Yeah, really outstanding. I mean, people are comparing it to like the release of Deadpool Wolverine, right? That was another comic book movie that crossed $100 million. So it's got a really strong start here in the United States, and I couldn't be happier, right? Like, Superman is so much more than just like the next Superman iteration. This is what DC is doing next, and DC is the primary rival to Marvel Comics. So for our 37 Marvel movies, we sure would like to see a little bit more competition in the creative space. And with James Gunn at the helm now, it seems like DC could be that. So Superman has a lot riding on his shoulders, right? And I couldn't be more pleased to say, especially after having seen the film, that it's doing well. I do wish it was doing better overseas, and I'm surprised it isn't. Like, there's that old, I don't know, idiom or story or a parable about Now, all around the world, every kid will recognize like a few key characters like Mickey Mouse and Pikachu and Superman, dog. Like everybody knows who Superman is. And I guess I kind of always believed that, but between Man of Steel and the last few years, it just seems like they've gone in a darker, a little bit more adult direction on the big screen. So maybe audiences are just a little bit more wary. Maybe they need that word of mouth for it to spread out. But for what's here, it seems like DC's off to a real strong start.
Yeah, I read that this is the first DC film to make over $100 million on the opening weekend since Wonder Woman, the first Wonder Woman, 2017, 8 years ago, that they really haven't had like a really huge success. So this is off to a great start. It'll be interesting to see what kind of legs it has and if it continues to do better overseas. Some other numbers for you. Jurassic World Rebirth came in second with 40 million and crossed 530 million globally. That's a huge hit. Dinosaurs still rule the box office, if not the earth anymore. F1 came in at 13 million, 375 million. Very respectable. The budget and marketing for that it keeps shifting. I don't know what exactly they need to make more money, but it probably needs to hit probably 450 or so. But that's Apple's best performing movie ever, so they're really happy about that. How to Train Your Dragon came in fourth at 7.8 million. Also crossed the $500 million mark to be 560 million, and Elio came in fifth at 3.9 million.
Yeah, Elia's still underperforming for Disney Pixar. Bit of a bummer. Meanwhile, like Jurassic World just seemingly can't be stopped. Overall, pretty solid July at the movies, and all an interesting seedbed for Fantastic Four coming out in just a couple weeks. Andy, how do you think that's going to do?
It's really hard to tell. I mean, there's some excitement for the brand still. Marvel's been struggling, so I don't think it's going to be huge. It's not going to be a Deadpool Wolverine. I mean, I think it could do about as good as Superman. If it underperforms compared to Superman, that might be troubling. If it's less than 100 million, I think Disney Marvel are going to be a little shaky on that, because it's a long ways until Spider-Man 4, Spider-Man Brand New Day, and then of course Avengers Doomsday.
Well, I do want to get to Superman. Any more thoughts on box office before we jump into recent watches?
I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
Yeah. Well, before we get into it, this segment we've been doing at the top of the show, and I thought maybe we'd try moving it around a little bit. Always growing, always changing. So before we get into Superman, Andy, I got to know, what have you watched in the last couple of weeks? Just off of the show, real quick. Just a quick, I don't know. What have you been watching when you're not doing movies for the podcast?
Caught up on a couple movies and TV. I have completely abandoned The Bear season 4. I watched the first three episodes and just couldn't. Yeah. I know there's a wedding episode, but I'm like, that's 4 or 5 episodes away. I don't want to sit through. So I think I'm just kind of done with the show. I got bored with it, and I know they're half-hour episodes, and I just can't. And I'm not going to force watch stuff. We don't. We don't get paid enough. We don't get paid anything, no. But I'm not going to force watch stuff. I also finished watching Watchmen, the HBO TV show from 2019. Love that. Still one of my favorite shows of all time. Incredible episodes. Episode 8, A God Walks Into a Bar, is one of the best episodes of TV ever. Comic book fans will love it. I took a look at Aftersun 2022, beloved film with Paul Mescal, about him and his daughter, father-daughter story. They're on vacation, but he's kind of struggling as a dad. That's such a good movie, and it was the debut film from Charlotte Wells and kind of blew everyone away a few years ago. And I also took a look at an early Tom Cruise film, 1985's Legend, fantasy film directed by Ridley Scott, starring a very, very young Tom Cruise and also Mia Sara of that we just saw in Life of Chuck, but also Ferris Bueller's Day Off fame. Very weird picture, man. They were making some really dark fantasy films in the 80s. It has got some real kind of Lord of the Rings-esque, like very orc-looking things. Like they're like barbecuing humans at the beginning. It's some real dark stuff. And I was reading about it, and of course, Ridley Scott can't leave anything alone. And there's multiple cuts of this film. There was a U.S. cut, a European cut, and there's a director's cut, which is a little bit longer and has a different ending completely than what's in the film. So, of course, he couldn't leave it alone. But it was interesting to see that first time I'd ever watched.
Watchmen is a great show from HBO. Absolutely worth watching. Like you said just a few years ago, God Walks into A-Bar, I think, is one of the best episodes of TV maybe ever. It is so incredible. Damon Lindelof on the writing. I mean, you Lost, Leftovers, like just does not miss a beat. It's one of those episodes towards the end of the season when just all the questions start to come together. All the puzzle pieces start to slide into place and you start to see the whole image. It's one of those episodes of TV that just, After Sun Rocks, we actually covered it on the channel previously. You can go back and check out our review on YouTube. It's floating around out there somewhere. And I think we probably had some words about the Watchmen show as well, because I remember watching that. And as for Legend, I've never seen it. And it's funny because when you told me you would watch Legend, the first thing I thought was, is that one Tom Cruise fantasy movie when like he never did fantasy again after that? And then the other thing you mentioned, you said it's that movie with Tim Curry with the giant devil horns. Tim Curry's the devil, like the red. Yeah. I was like, oh yeah, never seen it, but boy, I know the visuals. Like just huge character design, big ideas. Worth the time, you think? If I haven't seen it, worth sitting down and watching?
I mean, I think it's worth for a historical aspect. I mean, it's a throwback to, it's a time capsule of the kind of filmmaking that was made back then. Because like they were building these elaborate sets. It was nominated for best hair and makeup because like the makeup effects are really good. The costume, I mean, it took hours to get people into hair and makeup, and Tom Cruise just had to put on like armor. So, but it's very cliche though. It's like 10 fairy tales that all kind of thrown together. It's like the light versus the dark. It's incredibly generic, but the performances are pretty good. Mia Sara looks like she was born for the role. She looks like a princess. Apparently Robert Downey Jr., Jim Carrey, and Johnny Depp were up for the role of Jack that Tom Cruise eventually got. So that's interesting to know. I think it's worth a watch for none other than to see Ridley Scott, but it was a bit of a disappointment at the box office. Didn't do well, and it's just kind of okay.
It was such a different time in '85 before we were all like, I don't know, it just swamped with like apps and devices trying to grab our attention at any 1 second, memes. And all you had was like broadcast TV and what you'd go see at the theater, and then just like talking to your friends and hanging out and shooting shit. So like, yeah, it's something like Legend coming out being this big, bold thing is absolutely bonkers. But back then it was like, hey, when else are you going to impress people, right? Like they got nothing else to do in their free time. Hit them with it. Hit them with the big devil horns. They'll love it. I'll check it out eventually. Anyway, we got to talk about our first big film of the episode. Andy's going to be taking the summary on this one. Sorry, real quick. For me, I didn't watch anything exciting. Nothing in particular. I'm always anxious to see what Andy's been watching, and me, I have very few picks. But hey, man, I got stuff going on. All right, big things happening behind the scenes for Zach. Best way to find out what's going on, come hit the YouTube channel. Come subscribe to the channel. See what we're up to. Big things happening over there to help us out a ton. With that, we got to get to our first review of the episode, all right? I'm done plugging the show. It's time to talk about the big man, all right? Andy's taking the summary. Please, whatever. He's going to do it. Andy, please take it away.
Superman. So I want to start off by saying that we have been hyped about this all year. When we first saw the trailer in December of 2024, I said this is going to be a hit. We called our shot from the bleachers, from way far back. A little bit of history on the Superman films. The first one comes out in 1977. The Richard Donner one, Superman the movie, starring Christopher Reeve. Huge hit. Went on to spawn 3 sequels, one of which is good. The other 2, that series got worse the longer it went. The property gets put on ice until 2006 when Brandon Routh revives the character in Superman Returns, the Bryan Singer version, which was kind of just an extension of the 1977 Superman film. It's a very similar kind of tone. Kevin Spacey is playing Lex Luthor in that. It was ultimately kind of a disappointment. Didn't really lead to too much. This was before franchise building. Then in 2013 comes Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, a huge reboot of DC and Superman. Darker, grittier, a slight underperformance box office wise as well. DC and Warner Brothers panic, and then greenlight Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice immediately after. Justice League. None of that really panned out the way they thought. And so here we finally have in 2025 James Gunn's Superman. And what we have is something completely new and different. We are dropped in the middle of things. It's almost people have described it as like being dropped in season 2 of a TV show. We're not doing an origin story. We're not doing Kansas. We're not doing the destruction of Krypton. Superman is an established figure. He has been out in the world for 3 years. He has been with Lois as a couple, out to her for several months. He's already at the Daily Planet. All the things are already happening. So the story, at the beginning, we meet Superman actually kind of losing a fight, getting beat up. The famous thing that we saw in the trailer where he crash lands in the snow. We are introduced to Crypto, the super dog, and the Fortress of Solitude. With this is kind of how it starts with we're meeting Superman and company. Then we move over to Luthor Corps and we meet Lex Luthor, of course, played by Nicholas Hoult, and some of his goons. Move to the Daily Planet where we meet Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen, Cat Grant, Perry, the chief, the editor-in-chief there. And so these are our kind of big setups. And then our conflict kind of happens before the movie starts, where Superman has stopped a war. He has stopped an invasion of one fake country into another fake country. And while for him this seems very straightforward, there's a lot of political implications about it. It's about, well, what country is he representing by getting involved, and how did he, assure that this wouldn't happen again? He hasn't really thought about these in-depth questions, which we have seen from the trailer that Lois Lane really grills him on in one of their early interactions. And this conflict is going to be leveraged by Lex Luthor to get involved, to get the government on his side and take down Superman like he is always known to do. Last part of this big puzzle, a lot going on, is the Justice Gang, which of course features a Green Lantern, Guy Gardner, Hawkgirl, played by Isabella Merced, and Mr. Terrific, played by Edi Gathegi, also players in this as well. So a lot going on, lots of characters, lots of plot. Zach, what'd you think?
I think Superman soars. I think Superman rocks, dude. I think it is a home run for DC. I think James Gunn has done it again. I think the man is unstoppable. Fantastic summary, Andy. I can't believe this movie works as good as it does. I hoped that it would, right? I had looked at James Gunn's previous work, and it's kind of just banger after banger. The man seemingly can't miss, right? His Suicide Squad movie is better than the previous Suicide Squad movie. All of his Guardians films are fun. The Guardians holiday special on Disney Plus was a winner. Creature Commandos, the animated show, is good. Peacemaker is great. So all of these projects point to Superman is going to be a good movie. But it is setting this new direction and this new tone in the DC universe. It has to stand apart from Marvel and do its own thing. Interestingly, it chooses to tackle current political topics that are challenging and interesting and creating controversy on the internet. And you got to introduce David Corenswet as Superman, and Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane, and Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. Is any of this going to work? Dude, it all works. People say it's overstuffed. I think it's nimble. People say it might have too many things going on. I think it's grand. I think it works for kids. It works for adults. It's fantastic. So I'm very much looking forward to talking about how much I enjoyed Superman.
I have actually seen this twice. And on my initial watch, I felt like it was a little overstuffed. And on second watch, I really liked it. I think it, like you said, it is nimble. At our screening, because I saw it with Zach and his wife, Christine, I mean, people were clapping multiple times. There were tears. There were cheers, yelling. Everyone was having a blast. And that's how the movie is. It goes and goes and goes. It doesn't slow down too much. It never feels like it drags. And there is a ton going on. I'm going to start a little bit with tone. So one of the things that the Zack Snyder Superman and that whole universe kind of got accused of being kind of too dark and gritty. Everything was gray, and Superman was brooding and dark and all these things. And James Gunn has taken the exact opposite approach, which is what I saw when I first saw that trailer. I said he has nailed the character and the tone, and it looks like a comic book come to life because it has the bright colors, and he's wearing the trunks on the outside of his pants. It has some really weird, like sci-fi, otherworldly things, which is a lot of what happens in Superman comics. There's a lot of alien stuff and a lot of sci-fi or interdimensional whatever, and we get a lot of that in the film. James Gunn isn't shying away from these aspects of the comic, and he's bringing new things to the audience. Like there's stuff in here that you guarantee you've not seen in any other comic book movie, and he does it with such confidence. And he brings in a number of other characters. We'll talk about performances, but the Lex Luthor bit is very difficult. I think someone was saying Nicholas Hoult is almost too attractive to be Lex Luthor, so he has to act in a way to make you really despise him, and he kind of nails it. But there's just so much in here that's different, that's exciting, that, it's about hope. It's about kindness. I remember at the beginning, I thought, okay, so Superman he's naive and he's going to learn to be a little bit more, wary of the world and be brought more human. And no, it's the exact opposite. It's not that he needs to become more human. He inspires others to become more like him. And that is nailing the character.
Yeah, Superman is visually distinct from its comic book counterparts. Gunn has this really cool trick he started using in this with these like anamorphic lenses where when Superman goes to wind up for a punch, the camera like pulls out into this widescreen kind of thing. I don't know how they do it. I'm assuming you're blending or doing some weird frame bending thing. But it gives this power and this punch to flight and speed and strength that you don't get in other comic book movies. You go watch the trailer for Fantastic Four and the little combat you do see just kind of looks a little flat in comparison. And this is on top of a very bright and vibrant color scheme that is evoking tones from the Richard Donner film, right? Like the old 70s Superman. You get that bright red cape, the bright blue suit. Metropolis has a bright, beaming yellow sun all over it, which is fantastic because, of course, that's where our hero gets his power from, the yellow sun. We get a little bit of Fortress of Solitude. Cold, crisp, blue, right? You get Lex Luthor in his lair. Dark, undermining, evil. Big, obvious, bold. It seems like it'd be cheesy. It seems like it would be rote or shticky or schlocky, but somehow it manages to not be. Somehow Superman manages to be cool, like in a world where he shouldn't be, where he should be a Boy Scout and people should think that he's just too much. Like instead, his kindness is a reflection of like an ideology that Gunn is trying to bring in here that, hey, maybe being cool, maybe being nice is the real punk rock, right? And it's phenomenal. Like, it's delightful. It makes you want to stand up and cheer. Yeah, we had 4 applause breaks in our theater. 4. And after the first one and the second one, I thought it was a little cheesy. I was clapping in the 4th one. I was into it, man. Yeah, it's like it manages to be emotional at multiple points. There's two specific different points in the film where I've heard people getting teary-eyed in their seats. Like in the Superman movie, people are crying in Superman. It's crazy. Like Gunn, I don't know. Like you said, he makes it look effortless. He makes it look easy.
I think one of the smart ways that he's updated this is because you got to modernize, you got to kind of get with the times, and it can be a real challenge, especially with Superman. And he's done that by incorporating things like the 24-hour news cycle and social media and the internet. Like that plays a role in this. There's a big, Superman. He's a little self-conscious of his social media image, and that all these people are trash talking him online, like, why did you get involved in this, or why didn't you do this or that? And so that's a smart thing, because that's a reflection of our actual world, and that influences the media, the people, the government even. And so Gunn is pulling from real world things to just make it more contemporary, and it's done really well and really smartly.
Really can't speak well enough of the soundtrack either. I know a lot of it's that old John Williams score. But man, when this movie spins up and just your opening scene is like these shots of like Arctic tundra and these giant mountains out just in the middle of a frozen nowhere, right? And you get this like text coming up on screen that looks like it fell right out of Terminator 2, like this like 80s font that explains metahumans and how they got here and Superman's place in it, right? And you get this like ripping guitar theme coming over on electric, and it's just got this like ancient echo to it. It feels like there's like a vibrant legacy hiding just under the snow. And that's such a great intro for our character to return to the screen, this person who we've seen a number of times. It's such a great departure from what came before. Like, it would have been easy to just stay in the kind of Man of Steel lane and keep Superman as this kind of like adult, darker oriented god character, but instead he comes in uniquely human, the exact opposite side of the Punnett square, like to be somebody that people can really believe in. For a 2-hour movie, like it flies. I felt like people would have stuck around for another half hour at the end of this thing. I know people who've gone to see it multiple times, return to it again. There's something here that's just like contagious. People just want to be a part of it.
Yeah, the pacing is really good. There's big action scene in the middle of the film, like the midpoint, where, like most movies. That sequence is so big that would normally come at the end of most movies. Like it is just a big action set piece, and like it doesn't let you rest, but it doesn't feel like it's moving too quickly either. The pacing is done really smartly. I wanted to talk about our cast of characters. Great cast, starting with David Corenswet as the Man of Steel himself, who plays him in a very charming, naive, but yet hopeful way. There's this great thing. He doesn't swear. Like when he's upset with Krypto, and he's like, "What the hey, dude?" And like everyone cracked up at that. Like he is that big blue Boy Scout, and just so positive and different from like the brooding Henry Cavill. And man, it just works so well. Looks great in the suit. Can do all the action stuff. What do you think of Superman? Or Corenswet, rather.
Yeah, Corenswet's tremendous. Like, I remember when they announced casting and we were like, the projectionist from Pearl is going to be Superman. Like, it just did not seem like it's going to work. Yeah, he's got the frame. Yeah, he's tall. He's got the dark hair. But, like, that guy? And then he's in Twisters and you're like, oh, he's kind of doing a real specific dig at, like, Cary Elwes's Twisters protagonist, right? This, like, guy with the glasses. Like, no, I know where the real Twister. And I was like, oh, this is really, like, pointed. And he seems to know what he's doing. He shines in this movie. He's stellar. Yeah, he manages to be this guy who chooses to do the right thing in spite of all of the challenges ahead of him, which is inspiring. Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane is a ton of fun as this sharp-witted reporter, and they have insane chemistry. This is the kind of thing I used to rag on those old Jurassic World movies about, and more recently, the more recent Jurassic World movie. Like, none of those romance protagonists pop like these two do. These two look like they would actually work. Like, this seems like a real relationship. And all of that is next to Nicholas Hoult, who is incredible as Lex Luthor and is so good, dude, and so snide and sneering and conniving. I see people hopping on the timeline like, people have been sleeping on Nicholas Hoult. Yeah, not us. Nicholas Holt's been awesome for a decade, dog. Everything he does is great. And you got to talk about Edi Gathegi as Mr. Terrific, the breakout performance, I think, from the movie that everybody's really excited for, who is, as far as I know, just a small comic book character, like not super important, but Gunn loves those odd characters, and he brought him out in a big way here.
Yeah, I heard him compared to almost like a Batman-esque character, because he is maybe the opposite of Corenswet, where he's no nonsense. He doesn't want to hear about your problems. He doesn't want to hear you. He's all business. He's got a lot of one-liners. And Mr. Terrific is the smartest man, or one of the smartest men alive. He's a tech guy. Very serious, but his lines are he's so funny despite being this ultra serious character, because I think he is so serious compared to everyone else. We have some smaller stars that are really good. Skylar Gisondo as Jimmy Olsen has a couple of great scenes. A newcomer, Sarah Sampaio, who's I think a former model turned actress, who plays Eve Tessmacher, Lex Luthor's girlfriend. Everyone that's in here has maybe not a ton of screen time, but the scenes they do get, they knock out of the park. We also have newcomers for his parents. This was a big decision for Ma and Pa Kent to be played by kind of more normal looking people and not big stars. In Zack Snyder's, they were played by Diane Lane and Kevin Costner. And Zach, could you find their names? Because this list is too long.
Yeah, I guess. Sorry, give me a second.
And we just get a couple of scenes with Ma and Pa Kent, but again, they're played like down home, salt of the earth people from Kansas that have raised Clark and help him to become the person that he is. But they weren't looking for star power; they were looking for the best for the role.
Yeah, Neva Howell and Pruitt Taylor Vince played Ma Kent and Pa Kent. I don't know Neva at all. I have seen Pruitt Taylor Vince in a couple small features. I swear he was in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Maybe it's the wrong guy, but I think he plays Friar Tuck in that movie, opposite Kevin Costner and oh God, Snape. I can't remember his name. Sorry, I just came off IMDb. I got name fatigue. The point is, Superman rips, man. I think the choice to have Ma and Pa Kent look like every American's parents, like Midwest parents, was so implicit and decided. And I think Gunn's ability to tie the hope the people of Metropolis have for Superman to the intrinsic like cynicism that audiences have towards comic book movies now, and to give people something to want to lean into is so clever. And I don't know how you do it. Like, he just makes it seem easy. The shoot was short. They didn't do a lot of reshoots. He turned out the final edit like a month ago and was like, yep, that's what's going to theaters. Like, Fantastic Four had to jump through all these hoops and all these executives to get to where this comes out to be a final feature. And meanwhile, James Gunn's just like making like he's making an indie movie. He's just throwing this, like he's wadding up a ball of paper and throwing it in the wastebasket in the corner. Like, it's just nothing, right? Nothing but net. It's crazy how good it works.
I wanted to talk about how this is the start of the DCU, and you can't talk about comic book world without bringing up the MCU. And I don't want to do too much comparison, but what we have to look forward to is this movie is setting up not plots necessary, but it's given us a big cast of characters that we're going to see. We're going to be seeing probably people from the Daily Planet in upcoming films and TV. The Justice Gang will be back. Of course, Superman will be back. But I think one of the things that's so refreshing is that people walked out of this movie and said, I want to see more of that. I want to see Superman 2. I want to see Superman and Lois back and the people we met. Whereas what had happened in the MCU is people didn't really care about the movie they were seeing. They cared about, well, what's the end credits going to be, or who. I'm reminded of Ant-Man 3, where no one cared about Ant-Man 3, but they were like excited where, well, we're going to get to see Kang, and it's going to introduce Kang, and it's going to set up the next. Like, it was always about what was coming next and never what you were actually in the middle of seeing. And that's how this movie is different. Like, everyone is loving Superman and everyone wants to see it. It's got lots of rewatchability. Yeah, it's just exciting to see people excited about the character and not worry about what's coming next. We are going to be getting the Peacemaker TV show in August. The next actual film is going to be Supergirl in June of 2026, starring Millie Alcock as Kara Zor-El, Supergirl herself. That's going to be a whole thing, and more to come. And it's refreshing that people are just excited about this movie, not necessarily, well, what does it lead to, or who's coming up, or what's the team up going to be? It's like, no, I want to see more Superman.
Yeah, small correction. I was wrong about Pa Kent. He's played by Pruitt Taylor Vince, but Pruitt Taylor Vince was not in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. That's Michael McShane, who looks a lot like him, but is not the same guy. Thanks, IMDb. Yeah, James Gunn infamously was really against them putting Thor in the Guardians after the Avengers movies, and he was like, hey, I don't want him in the Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know how to write for that character. I don't want that. But they were like, well, this is the way it's going.
Deal with it.
Or Guardians were the ones who had to reveal the Infinity Stones. Like, that happens in a Guardians movie. And he got that as a studio note. Hey, you need to write a scene where the Collector, played by Benicio del Toro, explains the Infinity Stones. And he's like, why? I don't want to do that. Like, so in Superman, you definitely get this vibe that, like, he's A, doing what he wants to do, and B, like, he's not working hard to tie it into other stuff. It's pretty much its own beast. And I think that's refreshing. Like I said, that helps people break away from the mold of what they're used to and to get into something different, a different pool, huh? You jump from the pool to the hot tub, jumping into Superman. So I'm running out of good things to say about it, Andy. Any other thoughts for recommendations?
I'm ready for recommendations.
Andy, would you recommend Superman?
Fly, don't walk to the theater. Highly recommend this. Really enjoyed this. Audiences are loving it. Adults, kids, everyone's going to see it. I've seen it twice. Highly recommend seeing it on the biggest screen you can. It's a lot of fun. It moves. It's got great pace. Our cast of characters: David Corenswet as Superman, Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane, and of course the great Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. Great cast of characters, lots of fun, lots of action. Everyone's loving this movie and having a lot of fun on and offline. So highly recommend.
Yeah, same. I think Superman rocks. Go see it as soon as you can. Go see it again if you like. See it in the biggest theater possible. Take as many people as you can to go see it. I have not rewatched it. I've been thinking about going to see it again, but I don't know. We watched all stuff for the podcast. I just haven't gotten back to it. I'm looking forward to this hitting a streaming service and being able to just throw this on in the background at some point. It's like there's so much going on in it that it feels like one of those movies that if this were to show up on TNT 25 years ago, you'd be like, oh, sick, Superman's on, and just let it roll. It's probably the best Superman movie since the 70s Donner one. I a little bit worry what like big Snyder heads are going to say, but like, dude, it's so different than what Snyder did. And I think that's its strength, right? Like there's so many different interpretations of Superman. over his nearly 100-year history. Like Gunn managing to pick the best and brightest parts of so many of those and put together something truly unique here is something to be celebrated, like not scorned. And if you like Man of Steel, Zack Snyder's Superman, and you're like, I just want more of that. Well, they made a few of those movies, so go off. Like, please, those are there. But what's here is exciting, and I'm looking forward to getting to more of it. Speaking of things we're looking forward to, we're doing our 300th episode today. This is the 300th episode of Off Script Film Review, which is crazy. And we did our 100th episode and we celebrated, and we did our 200th episode and we celebrated, but now it's episode 300, and we're celebrating in a much more exciting, albeit maybe a little bit more humble way. Andy, what have you, I should just say, Andy, what'd you prepare for the folks?
Well, first off, I want to say I manipulated what we were seeing a little bit so that Superman would be on our 300th episode, which worked out really nice. But I wanted to just kind of walk down memory lane for those of us, or for those of you who have been with us the longest. We originally started the podcast in November of 2017, and our very first review was for Joss Whedon's Justice League. Funny that way, it was a comic book movie. And a small film called Blade of the Immortal, which was on Netflix, which has been turned into several animes and is based on Legend film. But that was our very first episode way back in the day. And we have two kind of practice episodes, which are not on the show, that we had done when we actually had a third person, our friend Kristen, when we very first started. And I don't remember every movie we did. I know one of them was Alien Covenant, which you and I hated and she loved, which was really fun. I can't remember what else we reviewed, but we did a couple of like practice episodes before we finally jumped into it.
Yeah. Wow.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah, we did a few just to kind of see how it worked. It was originally Off Script started as like a work thing. We kind of did it on the side because we all worked in the same office, and we found out we like talking about movies just fine. And then you and I very quickly realized we had similar opinions on movies, and Kristen was vastly different. And also, she's got a family, dog. She's got her own thing going on. So yeah, we just kind of kept doing the pod on the side and really enjoyed doing it and going to see movies. And that's the way it's been ever since. We've grown a lot since, obviously. We got some numbers here to talk about, but for the most part, the reason we keep doing the show is just because we like seeing movies and talking about them, and it's just a hobby that's rewarding. And I think that's a really good driver for a show like this, because we're not driven by, hey, we got to make money this month or else we're done. Like we're not tied to any sort of monetary like reason to do it. And I think that gives us, I don't know, some kind of creative edge. I say that. And then also we're in year 8 of doing the show now. So, you know, maybe I shouldn't be tooting our horn too loud. Like, hey, we do this for funsies and this is easy. We are growing and things are working.
We did the show just audio for the first 2 years, and then in 2019 we created our YouTube channel and started doing video reviews of our stuff. And our very first video review was for Alita Battle Angel way back in February of 2019. Very first video, first time streaming and working. And that was a fun little movie that I would actually like to see a sequel to. I don't know if we'll ever get that, but that was a fun thing. We have 609 videos on YouTube. That includes reviews, shorts, and other segments like news or other discussions we've had.
It's so tough going back and listening to old content of us. I don't think maybe fans would care as much. They'd be like, oh yeah, it's fine. But Andy and I are constantly growing and changing, and going back and listening even just 100 episodes ago is like challenging sometimes. A little bit of nails on a chalkboard. Like, oh God, what was I talking about? Why was I rambling in this bit? What did I mean when I said this? That doesn't mean anything. But the point is, it's like a rock rolling downhill, all right? We're gathering steam. It's like a snowball rolling downhill, turning into a big glacier, all right? We're gathering steam. We're figuring it out. And we're always getting better. And like that's a big part of how the show's got to where it is embracing this idea that like we will just continue failing upward. And every time we do something wrong, we'll learn and just do it better the next time. And it's working. Like I said, we've been growing exponentially since. YouTube has been a really good boon of interest for me on the channel since I do a lot of video work professionally. And it's been growing. And what's hard to believe is we've got so many damn videos up, and only now we're getting to the milestone that we're at. But God, so many podcasts don't even get here, man. 300 freaking episodes. Like, that's got to put us in the top, what, 0.05 percentile of podcasts that have been started in the world?
Yeah, most podcasts stop after like 3 episodes or something. It's people kind of give up on it pretty quickly. But yeah, it's just been loads of fun. I feel like it took us about 10 episodes to kind of find our rhythm. So like our first 10 episodes are real rough. Like I don't think we had our format down or our outline. We didn't know how to do like our summaries and stuff. Or a lot of times you just discover things that are kind of hard that you don't think about. Like I feel like summarizing films or doing the kind of premises, I feel like that's the most challenging thing. So it took us about 10 episodes to kind of find our footing and get there. And then we're still, like we said, trying to always improve. And also things have changed. Things like shorts and short form video wasn't really a thing when we first started. Of course, things like TikTok and YouTube Shorts. Our very first short came out on January 30th, 2023, so only a couple of years ago, which was a brief news short. And then our actual first recommendation short was for Eileen back in December 14th of 2023. So only a couple of years of doing short form content as well, and that's also helped the channel grow, which has led to us recently becoming monetized, which means we can start raking in that huge Spotify cash. Maybe one day.
Listeners have no idea how many times I've had to professionally ask a real accountant, like a real professional, when I can start writing off movie tickets for the podcast. And everyone has been like, there's this thing called the hobby loss rule that says if you're not making money, it's a hobby. All right. Like until it starts turning a profit, you're just doing it for fun, which is true. I have a hard time disagreeing with that. But hey, new things are happening on this YouTube channel. And that's all from people just like you, just watching and hanging out a minute and subscribing and liking and commenting. Like every little bit of engagement helps. And we're always learning and figuring out what's going to work. I think it's crazy that our first short was just uploaded a couple of years ago. Because again, we've been doing this for so damn long. You'd think we would have figured that out by now, but it's a process, right? You figure it out along the way. That's how we've always done it. And it's worked out real good. And we've learned a lot of things too. Like somebody was just asking us the other day whether or not we had a show outline. We're like, dog, we've had an outline for 200. Yes, we have an outline. Like look how long we've been doing this. Learning how to do titles and thumbnails that are interesting and engaging and find people, like figuring out when to post content, whether or not it's worth recording a review early before the pod and then inserting it after. Like all of it's just, I don't know, us playing around in the podcast sandbox and finding what works. And we're just really fortunate. I feel really fortunate. I'm sure Andy does too, that people have stuck around and people like what we do. Like for every comment we get that somebody's like, this is awful, y'all should quit, that I always want to get like printed on a t-shirt because they're so funny, dog. Andy and I go to see a movie talking about it and somebody getting mad about that is so funny. But for every one of those comments, we get somebody who's like, hey, you guys make great stuff. I subscribe to your channel, or somebody on our Materialist review who like agrees with what we said. And we can see that they actually watched for longer than 30 seconds before clicking away. All of that's wildly encouraging because we already like doing this. Like we already like that. Like that's just icing on top of a cake we already enjoy every single week.
Yeah, it's been loads of fun, and yeah, the channel slowly grow. I tell everyone I know, whether they like it or not, to like and subscribe.
Yeah,
have a lot of fun promoting the podcast. If I ever ask someone, I'll do this by asking, hey, are you into podcasts? Are you listening to anything? And then I'll eventually sneak in my own, like, well, I happen to have a podcast show you could listen to.
That's right. I've got the opposite problem. I've recommended Off Script to clients. I think it's lost me clients in the past. They're like, how long have you been doing this show? And it only has how many views? Like, oh my God. It's not the point, dog. Like the point is you got to like what you do. Like there's so many podcasts that are out there just to try to make a dime or be industry leaders or like have some like inherent purpose that like is driving their work. And Andy and I is just like, dude, we were going to go see movies anyway. Like we're just recording the conversation we're having about it. So yeah, always learning, always growing. Here's to another 300, man. No plans to stop. Things are real good. So if you like what we're doing, subscribe. Huh? Join the club, join the fan club, off script heads, and come check out what we're doing every single week. We'll certainly have more reviews up next week. Any other thoughts on the big 300 before we move on, Andy?
I think I'm ready.
Well, good, because we got a bite. what am I trying to say here? Dinosaur-sized review of Jurassic World Rebirth ready to go for you. So, we went and saw Jurassic World Rebirth during the break. Excited to talk about it. Keen viewers of the YouTube version of the show might notice a brief costume change here. Trying to think too much about it. The movie is Jurassic World Rebirth. So Jurassic World Rebirth is the story following the events of Jurassic World Dominion. This is the 7th film in the Jurassic Park franchise. This is 5 years after the events of the previous film. That all sounds complicated, but you don't really need to know it because this is a return to form for the franchise. Zora Bennet is a mercenary played by Scarlett Johansson who's looking to get out of the game. All right, she's all about going in and getting stuff and extracting it. She gets hired by, what is his name? Martin Krebs, who is a CEO of a pharmacy company or marketing guy at a pharmacy company, I don't know, who's developing a new cure for heart disease. And in order to finalize this thing and get it out to the world and save millions of lives, they just need the DNA from a few select dinos. And dinos used to be everywhere, but it's been a few years since the last movie. They've started dying out due to climate conditions, they say in the movie, and they only really exist now around a band around the equator of the Earth. So at this unique island way out in the middle of the ocean, Zora Bennet and her crew, with our guy Martin in tow, along with Duncan Kincaid, a great mercenary played by Mahershala Ali, Dr. Henry Loomis, played by Jonathan Bailey, of course, coming over from Wicked, and a few other friends head over to this island to hopefully get in and extract the DNA from 3 distinct large dinosaurs, one of air, land, and sea. They've got these cool hypodermic dart needle things they shoot at them, and they shoot out this little parachute, and they grab it, and they got to get their stuff and get off the island. On the way, they meet a family, the Delgado family, who's kind of dysfunctional, who's out there fishing when things go wrong. They all have to get to the island and then hopefully get out by the end of the movie. It's Jurassic World Rebirth. And in a lot of ways, directed by Gareth Edwards, Jurassic World Rebirth is a send-up of everything that's great about old Spielberg films, right? Gareth Edwards shot this on Kodak film and put the CGI together just like he did with Creator, I think like he did with Rogue One. There's a lot of great send-ups not only to Jurassic Park, but also Jaws. There's a Raiders reference in this, in a specific scene. Like, it feels a lot like Evans trying to take on Spielberg in the biggest way. But it's a little slow in the turns. And if you've talked to people or seen Rotten Tomatoes reviews, you know that critics are pretty mid on this one. They say it either works for you or it doesn't. For the kids, it's a hit. For the parents, I'm not so sure. Andy, what do you think of Jurassic World Rebirth?
So I think you summed it up really well, where it's a little bit in the middle. It works. Some things work, some things don't. I think overall, it's important for people to remember this is kind of a kids franchise. It's for general audiences. This came out over 4th of July weekend. It's not for 40-year-olds who have seen all of these movies and who saw, like I saw the original in the theater back in 93, one of my favorite cinematic or theater going experiences. So this is going to work for younger audiences for sure, that all of this is new for. A lot of the thrills, like they don't know all the throwbacks, all the kind of familiar beats that we've seen before. So it's definitely going to work for part of the audience. I think the first half is the strongest. When we get our team together, we get on a boat, and the first thing that they explain this very, very well. They need 3 dinosaur samples. They need one from the Mosasaurus, which is a giant whale-like dinosaur. They need another kind of brontosaurus one, and then the pterodactyl. So we see this in these cool giant skeletons, so we have a sense of scale and what we're going after. It lays it out very well for the audience. Surprisingly, we don't actually need one from the T-Rex. Normally that's what we would do in one of these movies. But the first half, where they're sailing to the island and they're trying to get the sample from the first thing, I think that works really well. It actually kind of slows down once we get to the island, and there's a whole lot of wandering around in the jungle. There's also a little bit too many people in this. There is our main crew with ScarJo, Mahershala Ali, and Jonathan Bailey, and then there's this separate family who's sailing in the area, and they get rescued by ScarJo and company, and it's a family of 4, so it's a lot of people. So eventually you have this small band of people together, and it's a little bit too much, but that's how you get the kids in there. You got to have kids on screen. That's part of how they rope in the family aspect of this. So that part is a little rough.
Yeah, and it's a bummer because that's like half the movie, and Universal did a great job of hiding that in the advertising. You don't see hardly any of that family. It's the Delgado family, led by Father Manuel Garcia Rulfo, who did the Lincoln Lawyer series over on Netflix. He's really good. In fact, I like pretty much everybody in this movie, I should say. ScarJo is good, although her character's a little flat, and I was reading that she got like an insane paycheck to do this, and reportedly always wanted to be in the Jurassic World franchise, but also IMDb says she was like their third pick after Amanda Seyfried and I forget who the other one was, Jennifer Hunger Games, Jennifer Lawrence,
Lawrence,
Jonathan Bailey's fun as Dr. Loomis. His accent slips every now and again, but otherwise like solid. Is kind of our nerd, bit of like our Milo Thatch character from Atlantis, right? Like civilian, doesn't know anything about combat, doesn't want to fight, like he's just there to check out the dinos and kind of do his thing. Rupert Friend is delightful as our conniving, like mustache twirling CEO who doesn't have a mustache, right? Like he's there for the money. We're getting our stuff and getting out of here. Hey, the cops don't really know we're out here, so you can't call 911, right? Like, and Duncan Kincaid, played by Mahershala Ali, is a lot of fun, and is super good, and I think not better than the movie deserves, but like a fan favorite. People will like him a whole lot, what he's doing in here. Everybody's a lot of fun, but I think where the movie gets complicated is A, it's split plot. You're just kind of jumping back and forth between our group of mercenaries and our family. And B, like, there's some real problems in scene geography in some of these. Characters will leap around the scene. You'll have a ton of ADR covering up, like, dialogue that's filling in what should have been happening. And typically, like, a lot of ADR is an indication of, like, a lot of studio notes that maybe the studio told Gareth Evans, hey, you got to change this or fix this. And looking at the trivia, it seems like Evans says that's not the case, that this is pretty much the movie he wanted to make, short of a very large change regarding one character in particular that the studio essentially demanded be shifted later. I don't want to spoil anything. But, like, there's something going on here in the middle. From 35,000 feet, this looks like a Jurassic Park movie. But, like, as soon as you really start to dig in, you realize, like, color grading is jumping between scenes. Characters are all over the place. Like, it's just odd. It's odd. And most importantly, well, hold on. I've been talking too much. And you please take it a second. Let me hand this off.
Well, I wanted to talk about our cast a little bit more. I didn't know that Jennifer Lawrence was in the run. I think she actually would have been really good at this. Because there are too many characters, we don't actually get enough screen time with everyone. I feel like ScarJo is... Our main leads they're just not on screen very much. ScarJo is fine. I feel like her character's written... and I don't know if it's a chicken and egg situation, but she's basically Black Widow. She kind of has that Marvel quippy dialogue, and I was like, I don't know if they're writing her that way or if that's how she displays it now, but she's kind of the same character, which isn't bad. The thing is, it doesn't work because she's supposed to be like this hardened mercenary. She's like, oh, we were, running some operation in Yemen and kind of this military, and she's like cracking jokes the whole time, and it just like, I'm not convinced that she's like a rough and tumble, military person the way someone like Muldoon, the character in the first Jurassic Park, is the game warden, who's definitely that hardened, no nonsense thing. So I feel like we needed a little bit more of that from her, because like she's Marvel quipping through most of this, and it's kind of odd. Mahershala Ali is great. Again, just doesn't get enough screen time. He's always charming. We need more of him in subsequent films. I think Jonathan Bailey is also the strongest of our three main leads. He's really good as the kind of moral high ground. He's the scientist. He values the research and the animals and doesn't want people or animals exploited. He's got a lot of good stuff. He's very convincing in this. Probably highlight of that. Everyone else is really forgettable and also very kind of cliche, is like, this is the bad guy. This guy was definitely not going to survive this trip. Here are some no-name crew members who are definitely not going to survive this trip. Like, there's so many people. At one point, there's like 12 people on the boat as they're heading into the island, which I think is a good point to start talking about plot.
Yeah, like you nailed it with the Duncan Kincaid thing, right? Like all those memorable moments from like the Spielberg films, right? Like not just like the Velociraptor Hunter, but like the Clever Girl and Hold On to Your Butts and Alan Grant, like seeing the dinos for the first time, feeling the sense of like awe and wonder. Like none of that is here. Like it is a fill in the blank, paint by numbers Jurassic World movie, and like it definitely checks the boxes if that's what you're looking for. But like you're not going to come out quoting any memes from this movie. You're not going to be like, oh, there's this one thing, or this person said that one thing that was so great. And that sense of awe and wonder that you get when you hear that John Williams score and you see these like giant creatures, right? All these characters have seen them before. They've been in zoos and exhibits and museums because in the world of Jurassic World, these things have just been wandering around the earth, right? They're not so popular anymore, but even still, like your sense of awe and wonder is a little deflated. Your dinosaurs are fine, but outside of that, I think the plot is fine. Like it works okay. The island they're on definitely leaves some questions to be desired. I'm thinking will probably get addressed in a sequel, and there is a sequel coming for sure. They talked about doing 3 of these films, and based on its opening weekend, I think it's what $300 million or something coming out of the gate. So like, there's going to be another one of these for sure. And Universal's got a hit on their hands, but it seems like critics just are not going for it in the way that general audiences are, as often happens. And I think that's okay, but I think it's just because if you have watched a lot of movies and you're just kind of keeping an eye out for key things, you realize they're just not here. It's like broad strokes Jurassic World movie. Like it checks all the boxes, but it doesn't leave you satisfied.
Yeah. So David Koepp wrote or co-wrote the original Jurassic Park film way back in '93, and he's playing the Jurassic Park hits. There are, we kind of have the scary opening scene like in the first one. We have it's literally copied scene for scene. And again, as someone who saw the original, that annoys me a little bit because I've already been there. But again, this movie's for 10-year-olds to 12-year-olds.
Yeah, it is.
Like for them, it's going to be new. And it's going to be like thrilling, and like in my theater, everyone was cracking up at all the jokes the jokes aren't very good, but everyone was laughing. There's some very mild horror, and there were people like gasping, like, "Oh my god!" like that. And so like it's working for general audiences, which is what it's intended to do. But it is a little disappointing that he's playing the hits. He's the things that you saw in the first movie, you're seeing here again 32 years later.
Yeah.
I mean, part of it is they work so well, but also it's also not in the fact that, it's not memorable. Our characters don't get enough screen time, and they're not developed as well as that. They have weird backstories that they get into for like 5 minutes and then never heard from again. Like ScarJo lost a friend on her latest mission in Yemen. Mahershala Ali has some background stuff too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it almost feels like one of the studio note scenes. Like they ran it by test audiences and were like, it needs a little something. Put something up here. Raise the stakes a little bit. Make it exciting. Like I do like it fine. And yeah, I'm with you. Like if you're a kid, this is Jurassic Park through and through. You're gonna have a great time. But I wish they'd picked a lane, like one or the other. Either stick with the mercenaries or stick with the family, or keep them all together. Like splitting them up, I think hurts the movie. And while I think Gareth Evans is so good at shooting things at scale, like this is the thing he's great at, right? Rogue One, the creator, he is so good at putting giant things next to small people, almost like Denis Villeneuve in Dune, right? And Blade Runner. Like these are things these guys are really good at. Like somewhere in the script or the studio notes or the edit, something like things get messy in Jurassic World in a way that hurts the movie. And it's a shame. Like, I don't think it needs to be that way. I think Evans is doing Spielberg, man. I really do. Like that opening with the family on the boat, that is almost very similar to Jaws. Like it's right there. And like, when you meet Duncan Kincaid at this like bar out in the middle of nowhere and they're like pulling a bit, I'm like, it's a little bit Raiders, like a little bit when Indy goes to see Marion for the first time. Like I see those elements, and Evans has talked about this in interviews, like how excited he was to do this movie. But it just doesn't end up getting over the top of the bar, and it's a bummer, and that disappoints me.
I swear that Rupert Friend is like the pharmaceutical rep, and I swear he's dressed like Belloc from Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes, dude. Like, yeah, absolutely. Like, it's not just Jurassic Park. Like, I totally see that. Score's fine. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I wanted to talk about our action scenes because that's what part of why these movies work is there's big dinosaur action and just action in general. There's a lot of boat stuff in the first half. Literally the first hour of the movie, like it takes them a while to get to the island. First half is stuff on boat. I think that is the stuff that worked the best for me because we haven't seen things like that in a Jurassic Park movie. So lots of stuff on the boat. That means they had to film in like one of those giant water tank places. The effects are pretty good there. I felt like that was one of the more thrilling things. things kind of slow down when they get to the island, but there are some really good sequences with like a T-Rex, with a pterodactyl. So I think the action sequences are pretty well thought out, and that stuff's going to be thrilling for the kids.
Yeah, and I like people begging for their lives, which they don't do in a lot of Jurassic World movies anymore. Like, this movie opens with a guy like begging for somebody to help him. Please, please open the door. I'm sorry. It's so great. Scare the kids. You know what I mean? Like, that's the stuff I think that works good in here for sure. Yeah. But it does end up looking a lot shaped like the OG Jurassic Park. And that's okay, I think. Like, works for parents, works for kids. But if you're looking for anything critical, I think Jurassic World is, I don't know, maybe not it. Any other thoughts or recommendations, Andy?
I think I'm ready.
Andy, would you recommend Jurassic World Rebirth?
I'd recommend it for general audiences. If you need something to take the kids during summer or when you have time off, it's definitely going to be safe and fun for them. Might be a little bit scary for a lot younger audiences. If you're a more serious cinephile and want a little bit more plot and character out of your movies, you might skip and just save it for streaming. It's not too long. It's just a hair over 2 hours, so it is kind of quick for these big blockbuster movies. But probably, like I said, save it for streaming if you're serious about it, but great for take the kids.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I don't know if this movie wins July. I'm not even sure if it makes the top 3 in July. Like, F1's coming out strong. Superman's got great reviews. Fantastic Four's coming out. If it's, kids' first Jurassic Park movie, or if they've just seen a couple of those Jurassic World movies, you'll love it. But if you're an adult and you've seen all of the Jurassic Park movies, all 6 of them, you've kind of seen this movie already. And that's not bad. It's summer at the movies. Get the big popcorn. You know what I mean? Get the Diet Coke. Enjoy yourself. But go in with the right expectations. I think a 54 on Rotten might not be the right way to set up what this movie's doing, but it certainly divides people. And I don't know. Universal's got a hit on their hands either way. So yeah, that's Jurassic World Rebirth. And that's Jurassic World Rebirth. Man, what a that was an awesome review, Andy. Great job on that. We both sounded really well put together. Yeah, no, we recorded that early and just after the movie, and because we were on hiatus. And anyway, we inserted it. It's fine. Don't overthink it. We got one more movie to talk about on the podcast. It's good that this is our 300th episode because we're doing 3 reviews, and notably, this is our longest podcast in a minute. But I'm excited to talk about this. This is a very particular, odd film. Bold cinema heads out there might be interested in this, but most people probably don't know what it is. It's a 1977 feature that I'm very much looking forward to taking the summary for. So please excuse my clumsy delivery. The movie is Sorcerer. Sorcerer is the story of 4 hardened criminals who are trying to navigate 218 miles of incredibly dense jungle with 2 payloads of highly volatile dynamite that is set to explode at even the smallest knock or bump. Our 4 protagonists all are here for different reasons, all for different crimes. One for an assassination, another for a political bombing, one a Parisian banker who's committed fraud, and the 4th a New Jersey teamster played by Roy Scheider. All have arrived at this South American jungle village to escape their past and hopefully forge a new future when this unique opportunity comes up to transport this sweating volatile dynamite across the jungle. All 4 jump at the opportunity for the hopes of some cash in the future, and that's our movie. It is a high-wire, hard-knock thriller that is so tense and so suspenseful, mostly in part due to its production. William Friedkin, director of the film, directed The French Connection in 1971 with Gene Hackman, wins 5 Academy Awards. Just 2 years later, Friedkin directs The Exorcist and changes the way horror cinema is shaped forever. After that, he gets his dream film and he chooses to adapt The Wages of Fear, a 1950s novel that I think was made into a film back then. He adapts it direct and he goes out to the jungle, 5 countries, 3 continents, most in the Dominican Republic, to film Sorcerer with Roy Scheider, who was the star of Jaws just a couple years before, Steven Spielberg's film. It seems like it's going to be a hit. It seems like it's going to be the greatest film to ever come out. But it's a confusing title. It's split between 2 studios who funded it. And unfortunately, it comes out the very same week Star Wars hits theaters, the original Star Wars, and it gets absolutely buried, falls between the couch cushions of history, and everybody thinks Sorcerer is a failure. That is, until just a few years ago, when there begins to be some hubbub on the internet about, hey, this William Friedkin film not a lot of people saw. So people come back around on it, Criterion picks it up, and Sorcerer comes to us in this wonderful collection that's now available on Blu-ray and 4K. Andy came over and watched it with me. I picked it up in the recent sale. I have talked about this way too much. Andy, what did you think of Sorcerer?
So overall, man, this movie is really great, but it's structured very strangely. It's one of these things that it's based on a French novel, and it was made into a French film in 1953. This is not a remake of the film, but it's an adaptation of the novel, essentially. But it's so deep, and there's so much meat on the bone. Like it has this Heart of Darkness quality to it, this Apocalypse Now thing, where you have these four men in the jungle, and they're just going deeper and deeper, and more dangerous. They're all seeking redemption. There's a lot in there, but it takes us a while to get to that premise. I knew about this movie, and I knew that the premise was that these men have to drive, unstable dynamite through the jungle. It was the premise I knew. It takes us almost an hour to get there because it starts with backstories of our four characters, in kind of how they each get involved in illegal activity, and then that's what drives them to South America. So it takes forever for that premise to happen, and it's almost like this should have been changed up the order and have the backstories be maybe in the middle of the movie. Also, a lot of it is in different languages. It starts off in, I think Hebrew, moves to French, moves to Spanish, and Zach was telling me that they had to announce that, hey, the movie is actually in English eventually. Please stay in and watch it. So it's a little bit. It drags in the beginning, but where it goes, I think, is really thrilling because you have these incredible sequences of these trucks, which are in terrible condition. They've had to throw them together from lots of vehicles and just try and get them across this very terrifying terrain, bad roads, mudslides, rain, wooden bridges. It's a terrifying ordeal, and you have these four men that are kind of trying to change their fate. They're all essentially dead men walking. They're condemned by their actions within one's crime or another. So there's a lot in this movie, and it's a shame it didn't take off in its time.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a movie maker's movie, right? Because the story of how Sorcerer got here is almost as interesting as the actual film. Friedkin, like I said at the top of our summary, shoots French Connection and Exorcist. He can do whatever he wants. He's like, I'm going to do Sorcerer, and it's going to be amazing. And he takes 2 years shooting out in the damn jungle. Like Andy said, Apocalypse Now, Francis Ford Coppola, which is a nightmare to shoot. Aguirre, The Wrath of God from Werner Herzog, right? Absolute nightmare to shoot in the jungle. This is one of those movies. Like, just everything goes wrong. People get malaria. Steve McQueen drops out, so you got to get Roy Scheider in there. Like, just nothing is coming together to make this movie. It costs so much money that Paramount and Universal both signed on and essentially split the bill, which is insane now. Would never happen. Like, this is the kind of thing in the 70s. They were like, well, it's Friedkin. Like, he's a winner, right? French Connection, Exorcist. Like, it's going to be great. Friedkin loved the edit. This is going to be a great picture. Like, it's going to work out so good. And he's got this great story on the Criterion of it finally comes out in theaters. And he walks down his long LA driveway, picks up the morning paper, and like flips to the review section, like from his favorite LA film critic. And the headline's like, what went wrong? How is Sorcerer a failure? And he's like stunned, standing in his driveway, like, what do you mean? Like, nobody likes it? He couldn't believe people weren't into this movie. And watching it now, it's hard to believe they weren't either. But like Andy said, A, it comes out next to Star Wars. B, you got 2 studios that are funding it, and arguably neither knew which one was supposed to market it. So no one pushes big marketing. The first 10 or 15 minutes are all foreign language. They had to put out a poster that was like, we promise it's in English. Go see Sorcerer. Like, people are looking at this like 77, like, what the hell? And most notably, and this may be the thing that hurts it the most, the title. Sorcerer is not a real direct anything in this movie. You can watch it and find out what it's related to, but it's obscure. I was watching Tarantino talk about it for just a couple minutes on YouTube in an interview he did a while ago. He said they probably should have just called it Dynamite, And it probably would have done way better than this movie did, right? Because that's kind of our central plot device is this sweating dynamite. But outside of that, you're right. It takes an hour, half the runtime, to actually get to the premise most people know. The thing is, that first hour is solid, dog. There are huge explosions, assassinations. There's guns
so
going
many
on.
explosions in this movie.
Like there are corpses, there's car wrecks, there's all kinds of insane stuff lining up these 4 protagonists to get out there to the jungle. And the idea of having 4 villains essentially leading your movie and being pushed to the absolute brink of the human condition in a desperate attempt to try to escape the very fates they've aligned for themselves is fascinating. Like Friedkin does it with such big visual flair, huge explosions, big long camera lenses, like tons of stuff from Exorcist, French Connection. All these foundational elements come in to make a truly harrowing, nail-biting thriller. There are sequences Andy and I were sitting on the couch watching this movie thinking, how did they even film this? How could you possibly do this in any sort of safe fashion? Like it ends up being a grisly, dirty trek through the jungle that is so tough and so challenging. You end up feeling pretty fantastic on the other side of it.
The stuff through the jungle is really harrowing and incredible to think of. I did read that they used a lot of life-size models of the truck, so they didn't really have the truck on like the shaky bridge, but still, I mean, the actors are out there getting poured on in the rain and just like are wet and gross and probably avoiding malaria the whole time. And there's so many explosions in this movie. Every time I thought we were done exploding things, like, nope, just keeps going. There's got to be like 10, if not more. Our 4 criminal characters. We meet our first person in the middle of an assassination. Another one is a political bombing. Another one is a bank man who is defrauded someone he's afraid of, maybe gangsters. And then Roy Scheider's character is actually recently robbed a church that it happens a gangster runs or controls, and so that's how he kind of gets mixed in all this too. And there's car chases, there's car crashes, and this is back when if you wanted fire, you had to set stuff on fire. If you wanted an explosion, you had to blow stuff up, and they do that all throughout this movie. So there is a lot of action. It is a little bit disjunct though, because it doesn't really explain how these men come together until you're about an hour into the film.
Yeah, I think your structure is the biggest hurdle in the movie. Actually watching it, it just feels like it takes so long to get there. The locations are so authentic. Again, five countries, 3 different continents. When we're in Paris, we're shooting in Paris. When we're in New Jersey, we're shooting in New Jersey. When we're in Jerusalem, we're shooting in Jerusalem, which is where it's so insane to see huge practical explosions going off. It is amazing nobody died making this movie. It is incredible nobody died making this movie. Like pillars of fire in the desert, right? Like crates of dynamite exploding, like just huge visuals for 77. And it bombed and tanked and fell between the couch cushions and nobody went and saw it. It's crazy. Like, it's crazy looking at it now that this movie didn't do better. It's crazy that we managed to unearth it on the Criterion Collection and now we have something particularly special. It's nuts. Just before the podcast, I was looking for something to promote. Somebody posted on YouTube. The whole damn thing is on YouTube. You can go watch it right now. Like, it's nuts, dude, that like this little movie from an incredible director just kind of fell under everything else. And notably, so many studios stopped doing projects like this after Sorcerer failed. They said, hey, we need to go with the safe summer blockbusters. We're going with the big scripts. We're not giving any William Friedkins any blank checks anymore, all right? They got to earn them. One for them and one for us. That's how we're going to do this from now on. Like, Sorcerer helped shape the way movies are made now. And it just almost got lost to time until this incredible like restoration, which has been such a treat to revisit.
Yeah, I feel like it kind of goes in cycles with we're going to let an auteur do whatever he wants, and then that works for a little bit, and then it inevitably has a bomb, and then the studios pull back, and then we kind of go through it again. Right now, people like Christopher Nolan gets blank check or carte blanche rather, and he hasn't had a bomb or a failure really ever. I really don't think so. But if he did have one, then that would, dramatically change the kind of deal he gets next. And we've seen, things like Netflix and Apple were cutting blank checks to directors early on. The Irishman was like a 200 and some odd or more expensive thing, incredibly expensive movie. And now those studios have actually pulled back on that kind of spending, and they're looking to just spend more efficiently or more traditionally. So it comes in these kind of strange cycles.
Yeah, it really does. Incredible soundtrack. I was going to say I forgot the name of them.
Tangerine Dream.
Dude, the soundtrack rips to Sorcerer. Like, I didn't think, it kind of spins up, and at first I was like, yeah, okay, a little bit of synth. By the end of the movie, I was like, dude, I got to go check this on Spotify. Like, just a movie that is so clean and so original, even though it's obviously an adaptation, but like, it just feels like it comes from a place of something clever. You can see what it's inspired. The Sweating Dynamite inspired Lost, right? Damon Lindelof wrote that into that show. Like, I don't know. I think this movie is real clever and real good, and I'm really glad we got to watch it. Any other thoughts or recommendations, Andy?
I think I'm ready.
Andy, would you recommend Sorcerer?
It's definitely for those that love bold cinema and for the auteurs. It's an incredible story and lots of action. It is a little slow in the beginning to get to our premise, but once it gets there, it really takes a hold of you, and you're just like waiting for these men not to survive at every turn. And like I said, it's got a heart of darkness thing going on, diving deeper and deeper into this jungle. Will these men escape? Can they find redemption? Who knows? But I would recommend for people who love bold cinema.
Yeah, same. Sorcerer rocks, would recommend. Or for bold cinema lovers and for maybe throwback nostalgia. Like, I thought my dad might like this movie pretty good. Like, between the action and the explosion, I'm like, he'd probably have a great time watching this movie. Like, especially once it finally gets on the wheels and we're moving our trucks through the jungle and stuff starts to really happen. Incredible bridge sequence at the end. That's, I think, the promo image everybody might be familiar with if you've seen anything from this movie. Sorcerer rips. It's on Criterion. You can probably pick it up at 50% off sale next time it comes around. I got the Blu-ray because that's what happened to be in stock. I regret not getting the 4K. You should if you can. I know it's got HDR, but those explosions look incredible in it. But for what's here, the Blu-ray looks awesome. Mastered from 4K. Check out Sorcerer. You won't be disappointed. Good Lord, Andy. This is our biggest episode in a minute. Nearly an hour and a half. Good God. Probably over an hour and a half by the time we're done here. What are we watching next week?
So we're going to be taking a look at Ari Aster's Eddington. This is the COVID era film starring Joaquin Phoenix and Pedro Pascal, among others. Also Austin Butler, Emma Stone. It's been described as a COVID Western. Takes place in May of 2020 and pits a sheriff played by Joaquin Phoenix against the mayor played by Pedro Pascal. Very divisive film from those who have seen it. It will probably be incredibly divisive as we see it. Looking forward to it. It is a little long. It is not 3 hours. It's only 2.5, so that is good there, but that's what we'll be watching in theaters. And then on streaming, we're going to be watching Heads of State, which is a comedy action film starring Idris Elba and John Cena that's on Amazon Prime. Also, some FYI releases. I Know What You Did Last Summer. The remake is going to be out in this Friday, July 16th. And also the Smurfs movie starring Rihanna is out July 16th as well. But Eddington and Heads of State for next week.
Very much looking forward to Eddington. It's crazy, man. A24 put out a podcast with Ari Aster and Bill Hader. It's a great listen. And Hader talks about how much he loved it. He'd already seen it. And he talked about going out to the parking lot after seeing it with friends and getting a call from Guillermo del Toro who'd seen it. And it was like, oh my God, it's incredible. Aster's a master. And then I saw the Rotten Tomatoes scores today, and it's like 60s from critics. I'm like, oh boy. So I don't know. Like, it's probably something incredible in there. I like Beau's Afraid, and a lot of people weren't warm on it. And later I revisited Beau Afraid and wasn't looking forward to it. Either way, it's bold cinema. It's going to be a good time. Please come back next week for episode 301. You're going to like it. If you want us to let you know when episode 301 drops out, easiest way to do that is to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast platform or YouTube. Follow us on social media. You get the notification bell. If that's around, we'll let you know direct the second it comes out. You can follow us. You can like, comment, subscribe. Any sort of engagement, honestly, like helps in a way much bigger than you'd understand. You might just think like a heart comment means nothing. It means a lot. Like every little bit helps, I promise. Like, we are really loving where the show's headed. We're really looking forward to continuing working on it. And we're really looking forward to talking about more movies with more people. Every comment we get, I read, and I'm always into it. Like, oh man, what's this person think? They hate us. They like us. Most importantly, what they think of the film. But then secondly, me, obviously. But either way, I got to wrap this up. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Podcast listeners, you can find us on Spotify, Google Play, iHeartMedia, and of course, iTunes, the biggest podcast outlet of them all, and a few others as well, CastBox, Deezer. You can check out our website, offscriptfilmreview.com, and you can email us correspondence directly at mail@offscriptfilmreview.com. I think that's it, episode 300. Good Lord. From all of us at Offscript, the home of Bold Cinema, I'm Zach Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Draper.
Thanks for watching.